Hey guys, it's Quills, and a couple days ago I had to clean out my room and I just came across a bunch of my old high school stuff, and it gave me a lot of nostalgia, and it also just made me like overthink about high school a lot, even though it was like more than how many years ago. So I thought it would be fun to just ramble about my high school experience and to just get all of that out here, because I hate having to like keep stuff in my head, even though I should just journal it so that I don't, put this out on the internet. But I feel like it'd be a really fun idea because I know a lot of people are still in high school, went through high school, and although not all of our advice or memories are the same, I feel like I want to share at least what I've learned, because I think I did learn something from that traumatic 4 years. So, yay, I want to get something out of it, because yeah, that was not pretty for me. If you guys couldn't tell, I was actually a very shy art kid. I was definitely the like art kid that sat in the back and didn't really want to talk to anyone, and I know it's kind of hard to show that now because I am pretty extroverted as my persona is on YouTube, but one of the ways that I actually got out of it was during 9th grade when I was really shy and I wanted to join like a club just so at least I could maybe try something new. I don't know. I feel like especially during middle school, a lot of people would read stories and watch movies, and like those really trashy movies about what high school would be like and how scary and cutthroat it would be, and I definitely fell under that, but I actually just learned the hard way that it wasn't anything big, because the club that I ended up joining really opened my eyes to what the school is actually like. I don't know if this art teacher like clocked me instantly or just needed some desperate people to join this club, but she introduced me to yearbook club, and that was kind of the club that started it all, because it would make me do stuff like go to school events and take photography. It would make me talk to people in their club so that I would have to write articles about this. It would make me so up to date on everything going in the school, and it kind of just showed me that it wasn't as scary as I thought it'd be, which was really, really good, and just some really good introductory skills into everything yearbook is going to encompass, because fun fact, this will take up like my entire high school life, by the way, because it meant a lot to me at the time. So I really took it seriously, and it did teach me a lot of stuff on like how to introduce myself, how to write articles, how to do layouts, how to color scheme, how to pick fonts, how to photograph, how to edit. Like it was really encompassing all of these artsy things that I really liked. So shout out to Miss B. You're probably not going to watch this because I don't think you ever correctly use a computer in front of me, but in the small chance you're watching it, thank you for peer pressuring me into joining this club, because I think I was too intimidated by you to say no. So that was cool. And then after that was kind of the end of grade 9 for me. I'm sorry, freshman year. By the way, I'm Canadian, and I still don't understand why Americans do the whole like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior thing, because we kind of just say grade 9 to 12 and that's basically it. Yeah, I don't know, that was it. That was all grade 9. I just joined a club and yeah, that was it. So grade 10, I thought it would be an amazing idea, to already deal with the stress that I was already under during high school, to add a part-time job to the mix, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I think grade 10 was definitely my like darkest year, because I was going through a lot of personal stuff and I had a lot of things to juggle, but luckily my grades were still up and I was still doing my shifts, all for the fact that I, actually used a planner. So like the good Asian kid that I was, I still had my grades intact for some reason, despite that being like one of the worst years of my life. So I don't know if this is helpful advice, because I feel like everyone and their mom just tells you to use a planner, but I will say that despite all of the like bullet journaling YouTubers and all of the like fancy stuff that you can get, journaling and just like using a planner can be a lot more simplistic, as a lot of people actually say it is, because there are people literally used like sticky notes and that was it. And it was mind-boggling to me, because I thought I definitely fell for the trap of like using a bullet journal and like color coordinating everything and like scheduling on Google Calendar. I definitely fell into that trap, and then I fell out of it because it was so overwhelming that I kind of dropped it and I made my own system now. But it was just fascinating how the different ways people organize their life really worked for them, and I think that was one of the best things that I learned. I didn't like end up organizing it their exact way. I just kind of found my own. So I like did the bullet journaling, I tried to do time blocking, but that stressed me the hell out. I tried like normal to-do lists. I had a friend, by the way, who in high school just bought like one big notepad and would just write down assignments and stuff to do, and would just use that for the rest of high school until like senior year. He literally had the same notepad and he would just cross everything off like a psychopath immediately after. So his whole notebook was just filled with all the stuff he's done throughout high school, which I don't know, I kind of I'm inspired by that now. Yeah, no, I know everyone is telling you to use a planner, but I do recommend finding a system that works for you, even if it's not a planner. Again, if you just want to be a sociopath that uses one notepad, go for it. If you just need a million sticky notes telling you what to do, also go for it. There's a lot of people that just put stuff on their phone as reminders, or have alarms for it, or just have like friends to hold them accountable, which is also really nice. Yeah, that was basically grade 10 for me. I don't want to go into details of everything personal that I had to deal with. I think the planner thing is something I definitely had to relearn. I don't know about every school, but my school, especially in elementary school, gave you those like, I'm not gonna say paper, it was like a plastic cover like planners, and you would have to write your assignments in, and then your teacher would have to check that your parents did the signature on it so that they actually check that you're doing your homework, which by the way, give me a lot of dread because my parents worked full time when I was growing up, and it was so stressful having to remember to make them sign my planner when I know that they just wanted to come home and relax and didn't have to deal with everything. So it kind of gave me the opposite effect when I was using planners early on, but thankfully I had to relearn my own system this way, and now it's something that I do daily, and I'm actually able to keep track of multiple things. So, you know, just don't let elementary school planners ruin planners for you. I promise they're really helpful. Alright, so sophomore year was kind of weird because I know from grade 9 and 10 I joined yearbook club, and I was kind of just like in the club, but I wasn't really doing anything much. Grade 11 was a bit odd because Miss B, you know, the one who introduced me to yearbook, actually had to retire, and then we got a new teacher who also took over a lot of our classes. He took over photography and like all of the like artsy stuff, and then he kind of just went over to me, you know, the person who's been yearbook, and honestly sat me down and was like, hey, I know I'm a teacher and I know I'm in charge of yearbook now. However, I've actually never taught yearbook as a club, so I'm kind of just gonna use you to teach me yearbook, which was really weird because in grade 11, yeah, I also still had a part-time job and I still had my grades up, but now I was basically running the club that I feel like I just joined, which taught me a lot, especially because I didn't know there was a lot of like other administrative stuff in yearbook, because I was kind of just in charge of taking photos of events and then like writing down the names of people in the photos and then putting the photos on the page that it was connected to. I don't know how to explain it, but it did teach me a lot about management and using my assets and even leadership, because I was kind of in charge of a class because they didn't really know how yearbook worked. It also taught me a key factor of like getting to know the people that are under you and looking at their strengths and weaknesses and using them to your advantage in order to like actually make a cohesive team and not just teaching everyone the same, because forming everyone to be like the perfect worker isn't how leadership works. I feel like the point of leadership is to actually like getting to know each piece of the puzzle so that it all like uniforms together in one good picture, instead of just treating each piece the same and expecting them to work the same every time. I don't know, at least that's not how it worked for me. And it definitely worked out because I think by the end of grade 11, I was pretty much running yearbook, considering I also designed the cover and designed the concept, and I took a lot of the photos, and I spent like countless late nights actually just like doing the pages myself, because I know a lot of people were falling short behind, which was okay because again, it was an elective, they didn't take it seriously, but I took it seriously. So basically, by the end of grade 11, I was a businessman with my work ethic, and I don't know, I felt like I could do anything, which was weird because this is grade 11. Like, I already had a lot of hubris, but I don't know, I felt like it was kind of all coming together, which was great because by the time senior year came out, I was humbled so badly with COVID, which, by the way, I will say didn't affect me a lot. I am so thankful to be living in Canada, in a first world country, and I'm thankful that I had like a bunch of technology that I was able to still do my education on, and I had a lot of friends that were also online, and I still was like with my family. So I'm not gonna be a bitch about it because I know a lot of people had it worse, but I will say it was a bit annoying for me, at least. But it did teach me a lot about A, I needed to be humbled, and B, how to kind of just work with what you had, because I was still in charge of yearbook. I still had this book due by the end of the year, even though basically like 2/3 of the year I couldn't take photos of anyone. So I was kind of just being like a desperate ex, texting a bunch of my classmates photos of what they're doing and how they're handling COVID and what extra spreads I can make about like COVID life and how it's affecting the students, but they're not like, you know, broken down. I think now we're at a point where we can like look back at COVID reflectively and not just think about all of the horrible things, but we could also talk about how it affected us personally. I know a lot of people are still faux pas talking about COVID, but I think reflectively, it's good to know that you didn't waste that time, but how you handled it well, which I think a lot of people handled it a bit extreme in my personal opinion, but I think I did as much as I could with like staying inside and doing everything inside and just getting as much like online things done as I possibly could. I don't know, I'm really proud of myself. And by the way, for the art students out there, I do recommend joining yearbook club because it helped me a lot with my portfolio and applications to art school, considering yearbook also encompasses design work and concept art and photography. And especially if you are able to actually like design the yearbook cover yourself, that's really good to put on like an art portfolio, which I did, which is why I got into all the art schools I actually applied for. So that was really cool. Yeah, no, this is a weird video. I know that there's like a random speed paint over it, which I think encompasses how I felt during yearbook, but that was basically, I think, my feelings about high school. I don't know. I just wanted to like ramble into a microphone, if you guys can tell. I hope you guys still enjoyed this video, and if you guys want, you can let me know how your high school experience was, because I feel like it's really interesting learning how we're all different but kind of the same in a way, because we can all agree it was a mess. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I don't know what else to say. I was gonna say something cheesy and like, oh, it's okay because we're all still together or something, but like, okay. Bye, guys!